Hello, I'm Colin Gazaui. I am in 12th grade. I'm a senior. I'm 17 years old. Pronouns are he and him. And this is my first and only year of Universe.
Very cool. Okay. What was the first thing on your mind today?
I mean, probably just staying in bed. I stayed up till very late last night, so I was finishing an APES test, so I just wanted to stay in bed pretty much. Sounds weird. That's a lame answer, I know, but that's what I thought.
It's okay. That's what I thought too. I have ice skating in the morning at an ungodly hour. So that's my thought every morning, not wanting to leave the bed. How has virtual learning made things more difficult or more convenient for you?
Well, it's not all that dissimilar from what I was doing before I came to MEA, because my original school was even more independent study than this one is. I only came here because of the pandemic.
So,
and I wanted a little more of an in-person experience, so that's why I came here.
What school did you go to before?
Dimensions Collaborative, you've never heard of it.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
That's what I lead with because I know it's true.
What's something you missed from life before COVID?
Probably in-person orchestra rehearsals. We used to have those every Saturday. And now we have ones on Zoom that aren't even like rehearsals, and it's just like it wears you down.
Yeah. How does a orchestra practice over Zoom work?
Not very much. What we do is we have these online recording projects, and we have like a set time of a few minutes to record separately. So like we don't play together in unison. But like the rest of it is just meetings with special guests like alumni. That's
a new experience. Yeah, I play piano, and for majority of the pandemic, my lessons were over Skype, which is considerably easier than having to play with an orchestra, but still just connection issues and communication and sound quality.
Yeah, especially like there's not a lot of prospect of going back to in-person stuff for me, especially since I play the oboe. Like wind instruments, not very optimized for pandemic music making.
Yeah, because I've started going back to in-person lessons, but I can wear a mask when I'm playing piano. Can't really do that with an oboe. Yeah,
I think they have those like special wind instrument masks that like have the little gap in the front that you can stick your reed or your mouthpiece through. I don't have one of those. I don't know if they're like on sale commercially.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like counterintuitive to have a mask with. Yeah. What's something you've learned to value more in the past year during the pandemic?
Interactions with friends whenever I can. I think before the pandemic I was more introverted than I am now. But like I would not call myself an extrovert.
So you think you became more extroverted throughout?
A little bit more, yeah.
That's interesting. A lot of people that I've talked to, and I feel this way too, I feel like I've become more introverted. Like if I am going out to my ice rink and seeing people, like 30 minutes of personal interaction and I'm done with it. Whereas last year.
I can see that.
Yeah. But that's interesting that you're experiencing kind of the opposite of that.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call myself an extrovert, but I've just been like, I've gotten, I think, more confident speaking to people.
That's really good. How has the pandemic allowed you to grow?
Better time management skills is the first thing I can think of. Like I'm working to develop those. Because I need them more now. Yeah,
definitely. Like just motivation in general during a very stagnant like time period where everything around you is just not moving. Well, it's getting along now, but just the feeling that time's completely stopped, but it's not really. Like you still have due dates and you still have stuff to do, but everything's shut down.
Yeah, just like you get out and it's like, oh, it feels like it was just like everything started to blur together.
Mm-hmm.
Like I found that I sometimes can't tell if something happened before or after the pandemic started.
Yeah, I experienced the same thing. What's something you'll miss about the pandemic? Weird question, but
being able to have my class wherever. There's an advantage to that. You know,
mm-hmm.
it's like it's less intense. Like I remember I put in the senior survey. What's the best thing about distance learning? You don't have to leave your house. What's the worst thing about distance learning? You don't get to leave your house.
Yeah, that's definitely true. It's very convenient because you can like be in your kitchen eating like a brownie or eating your meals while you're in class.
I've never actually done that, but yes.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm the only one. Another thing that's interesting, I just thought about this, is that like psychologically, I know that having a separate like workplace and like a room is important for some people, but obviously through the pandemic, I know a lot of people have just been doing class and doing like spending 90% or more of their time in their room. Has that proven to be an issue for you? Or not an issue, like a learning curve maybe?
Well, it's a bit different for me because I don't have my own room. I share it with my brother. But there's like a couple of places around the house that I just oscillate between. Here for classes, there's this little perch in my room for schoolwork, like on my bed, or just like on the table if it's something serious.
Yeah, definitely. Working on the table on a desk is like business time. We're getting work done. Okay.
Yeah, just like we have to sit up now. What is this?
Yeah. What's something you want to accomplish in the future?
I feel like saying graduate college with a double major is too generic. I feel like you mean like
take it however you want. These questions are very vague. Answer them however you feel like you want to answer them.
Well, then I want to do a double major when I go to college. I want to be able to pull that off in a reasonable time frame. And then I want to make a difference in the world environmentally.
That's a really, really good goal. What's something you could talk about forever? It could be a band, an event, a place, yourself.
I don't know. I mean, the stuff that's coming to mind is like linguistics, languages, language families, relationships.
Like different languages, or like the backbone of what makes a language?
The different languages, differences between language, or maybe like I can go off on a music theory tangent. Like I talk to myself a lot, and I have imaginary conversations with people that I know, and in these conversations, I frequently end up going off on a musical tangent, just like, oh, it's like that one song from Hamilton or whatever. It ends the same way, and I just like do air piano chords.
Definitely. As another music person, I hate music theory. Never was able to fully appreciate it, but I will say music theory, like jokes or like memes, are quite funny. So
agreed. It's just like I could not get into the music theory class I took a couple summers ago. Like, I mean, I bet maybe because it was really basic and it was just like endless grinding of just identifying chords.
It takes away the creative aspect of like music and like
exactly art. It's so rigid. Like it, I guess I like it better going the other way, where it's like you're listening to a song like, oh, that's cool. It's a how in the world do you end up on there's this one song that like ends up on a flat 5 chord. It's like, how does that even work?
Yeah, and definitely once you get past kind of the grueling process of like memorizing certain terms and sequences, then it's interesting because you can pick those out and build stuff with.
I'll take your word for it.
I'm just seeing what other people have told me. Music theory and me don't get along. We never will. We've come to terms with that.
Yeah, I guess that's why I'm not doing a music major in college. It's just too rigid.
Yeah. Okay, taking a bit of a turn. What would you do if money didn't exist?
thing I wanted to do for a while, and this is going back to like the previous question, is making a difference environmentally. It's going to cost a lot, so maybe if money weren't an object, I'd like start funding renewable energy across the world.
That's a very good point. Yeah, definitely better than like buying a mansion, or like not buying because money wouldn't exist, but something more tangible versus, yeah, because it is really expensive to reverse the damage that humans have done environmentally. But that's the ramifications that we have to deal with. Let's see. Where do you feel most at peace? These are very easy questions. That's sarcasm.
I don't know, maybe in the shower?
Yeah. I've never thought about that, but that's actually a very good answer.
It's like time just flies when you're in there.
Yeah, and it's like the world doesn't... Yeah, that's a good point. Because a lot of other people have been like, oh, the beach, or like with my family. But the shower, I think the shower might be my favorite answer so far.
I mean, it's where I can be by myself, and like,
yeah,
you know, I'm not an extrovert. Like I'm comfortable around some people, but around some people, just like they'll talk around me, and I'm just like,
you don't want to exist.
Just listening and trying to. Sometimes I try to get my way into conversations, and it's just like, let's see, where can I insert myself? Nowhere. Okay, I'll just like sit here,
just stand there,
observe, listen.
I completely agree with that. What's your biggest dream? Sorry, dropped something. What's your biggest dream?
Bit of an open-ended answer, but like to know that my life hasn't been a waste.
That's a very...
in some way.
Yeah, that's an open-ended but very like correct feeling response. Yeah, because that's not a fear, but there's so many people on Earth, and you want to use all your resources that you've been given, but it kind of like you feel like an ant under a microscope. Wow, English.
That happens to me too. I'm just like, a lot of the time, just like, you know.
Yeah, that's a great thing about doing these interviews, because it's like helping me practice not stumbling over every single sentence I say.
It's very useful for both of us.
Yeah. Do you have any advice you'd give your younger self? Well, I'll say this. I get two kind of different responses. Some people say that they wouldn't say anything because the stuff that you went through before shapes who you are now. And other people are like, don't wear that outfit. Just don't do that. So where are you on that spectrum?
Well, when I was younger, I was a weird kid. I was weird as heck. And now I feel like I'm almost as weird. I just keep it inside.
Everyone's weird. They just learn how to cope and hide it differently. But yeah.
So yeah, maybe I'd say something like, just maybe find a comfortable way to be weird, or like find people you can be comfortable being weird around.
Yeah, and not. Yeah, definitely that too. Or like, obviously, there's the idea, especially in elementary and middle school, that you need to find your group or like fit and conform to like survive school, which I don't know how true that is anymore, because a lot of people are becoming more open-minded to new things. Let's see, what's next?
Or maybe I'd say something like, if you feel like you don't fit in and don't want to be with other people, then that's fine. Mm-hmm. You and I both know, I say to my younger self, that you're very comfortable just sitting inside reading, and that's perfectly fine.
That's very good advice. Now, tell me about a time when you maybe didn't follow this advice.
the first summer camp I went to when I was 11, I was just completely weird and like wacko in front of everyone. And I honestly don't regret it that much because it taught me a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Some embarrassing experiences that you might hate to relive are really impactful to how a person acts now. Where do you see yourself in 50 years?
Depending on how I turn out, I might be, there's a couple places. I could be, at one end, I could be the Secretary of Energy. On the other, I could be like, I don't know if I'll end up raising a family, but I might be part of one. Maybe, I don't know, maybe not as a father, but maybe as an uncle. Maybe as that eccentric uncle that comes around just like, hey kids, you want to listen to some weird music I just found?
That's the best type of relative, though. Just the absolutely wacko one.
Just, I don't know what you have the wacko uncles, but then you have the Gen Z wacko uncles in a couple decades. It's just like I'm bracing myself for what the Gen Z wacko uncles and aunts are going to be like.
Yeah, I'm bracing myself for what our entire generation is going to turn out like.
Gen Z college students, and then Gen Z parents.
Yikes! And then the generation we're going to raise.
Alpha, yeah. Well, no,
Yikes.
I guess we wouldn't. There's a gap, so I guess if we're generation beta, I suppose.
It just keeps going. Maybe we'll all be extinct by then.
have to flee into space.
What brings you the most joy?
Probably, well, I mean, I referenced this earlier. The conversations I have with people in my head, or like those, and I wouldn't. You might call it daydreaming. I don't know, but like, I feel like that's too lowbrow of a term. It's like, although that's basically what it is.
Conversations with yourself. I mean, I talk to my cat, so.
Yeah, and sometimes the conversations are out loud. Because how conversations with people I know would go in person, like related to something like some YouTube video I've watched, or like something music related or language related, or just like sometimes I find myself going like, instead of just noticing something when I'm like out driving or something, and instead of noticing, I'm just going, oh, look at that. I found myself saying out loud, oh, did you see that? To no one.
I don't know if that's like daydreaming or like building a stronger relationship with your conscious mind.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, there's no sometimes there's a distinct person that I'm talking to, or like sometimes it's like a revolving, like a roulette of people I know. And sometimes it's just like no distinct person at all.
I mean, I don't know what's better, talking in full conversations with your cat or having a mind of characters to talk to. What's your greatest strength?
I want to say my sense of humor. I can make weird jokes out of a lot of things.
That's a good one. My sense of humor, most of the time when I try to make a joke, it just goes over people's heads. So, on the flip side of that question, greatest weakness?
Sometimes I'm very inconfident and I doubt myself. I think I can improve it in college, though. Mm-hmm. I think I'll have to.
Yeah, you definitely will have to. Just, you're thrust into a new environment, and you can either sink or swim.
Yeah, it's crazy though. It'll be my first time completely surrounded by people who are my age. Like, I've not had a normal public school experience before this, so that's not going to even compute for me.
Yeah, it's just
the questions I normally ask people, like, hey, what grade are you in? What school do you go to? How old are you? Like, those just questions are just, like, thrown out the window. I'm like, oh, I got to find new conversation starters all of a sudden.
Yeah, that's a good point. Also, because, like, no one cares. Like, the idea of what grade or age you are doesn't have as much value in college.
Because, like, the maturity gap between an 18-year-old and a 21-year-old is much smaller than that of between a 15-year-old and an 8-year-old, even though the age gap is the same.
Yeah, definitely. That's another fear that just unlocked for me for when I go to college. Can't wait. What's an experience that has shaped you into who you are today?
Honestly, what I'm thinking of right now is the first time I went to prom. Probably the only time I went to prom. In 10th grade. And I thought it would be a disaster because of how relatively introverted I am and was.
Mm-hmm.
But it turned out to be an absolute blast because there were a lot of people I knew there. Like, the first time I went to a school get-together, I was like, after 5 minutes there, I'm just like, please let me out. Because there were some people there I knew, but not all that well.
Yeah, and how is that? That's very movie-esque, film-esque. That's not an adjective. To, like, have prom. Words are going into my head and they're not coming out in proper sentences.
Hollywood moment?
Yeah. There it is. But
yeah, it just taught me that, like, I'm not like completely introverted. It just depends on the people I'm with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes a good point. That your kind of sociability depends on your comfort level with the people around you. What's something you're struggling with right now?
Like I mentioned earlier, time management skills. It's like trying to divide up my work evenly between days.
Mm-hmm.
And on the flip side, trying to find time for genuine relaxation where I can feel that it's necessary.
Yeah. Yeah. When I first started at MEA, I think the first 3 months, I really tried to get all my work done in, like, the first, like, week or week and a half. So I could, like, so I didn't have, because I just got so anxious. And as my years at the school has progressed, now it's a little bit more even, I think. But that's a great thing about MEA is that the time management that you have to learn.
Yeah, because everything is not, like, divided up into blocks all the time.
Yeah. It's your job to decide whether you want to wait till the night before turn-in or squeeze it all in and then forget everything.
Yeah, it's your job to decide whether you want to stay up till 11:30 of finishing a group project by yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, group projects have been interesting this year. As I don't know if you had to do too many of those.
Oh, Apes has one, like, a couple every month.
Yeah, it's because, like, you can share the document, but it, like, there's just a completely missed level of communication between your group mates.
Yeah, honestly, like, I'm thinking about it now. I can't even imagine how they'd be in person. I've never done one at MEA in person. This is blowing my mind.
I mean, to be fair, I don't know if we do that many. My brain is, like, everything before COVID and how, like, school functioned, I can't remember.
It's just been erased from your mind now that we're doing this for over a year.
Mm-hmm. This just feels like normal. Like, sitting in a classroom with other people? What's that? Do you have a favorite song, album, or band that you feel like represents? I'll say this. What's your theme song?
I have a couple. One of them is Panama by Van Halen. Because, but this was especially true, like, earlier this year, end of last year. It's like, it's not like, do you know the song, first off?
No, my dad probably has made me listen to it before, and I probably enjoyed it, but I can't remember it right now. I will listen to it, though. Everybody who's watching this in the future, listen to this.
But yeah, it's like a hype song for me. And I would always blast it when I went to water polo. And it's like, it helps me de-stress, especially while driving. And like, for me, it's not really a song to sing along to. A lot of it kind of is, but like not. The reason it's a hype song is not because of the lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
It's because of the instrumentation.
Yeah, just the production and that. Yeah,
that's the way a lot of songs are for me. Especially, I'm listening to a lot of Filipino music right now, and I don't speak Filipino, so it's just the instrumentation that gets me.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes people underestimate how much power like the production and the instrumental composition of like a song actually like affects the feedback the song receives.
Yeah, especially for rap songs. Like the one that comes to mind is "Without Me" by Eminem. Just like I find myself like singing or rapping along to that song when I hear it, but I also find myself doing the bass line, like the sometimes more than the actual lyrics.
And there's this one song, and everybody I forgot the name of it, where everyone was like, "Why does this sounds like someone put crack in it?" And it's because the producer reversed the snare. So like there's the percussion, and then he like reversed the snare, so it felt like it was almost sucking the audio in, which is.
I may have heard it before. How does it go?
I think it's Moral of the Story by Ash, and Phineas produced it.
Haven't heard that one before.
But the producer, he's also has music of his own, I think. Phineas, he does a lot of kind of interesting stuff.
That's Billie Eilish's brother, right?
Yeah. Good job for knowing that. No one usually knows that. Points for you.
And I'm the guy that doesn't even listen to pretty much any of their music. Yeah, I tell people like when people ask me what kind of music do you listen to, and I go, all sorts, because I like the old like pop and rock songs like Paul Simon, David Bowie, Queen, Yes, Billy Joel, all the classics, and then like the Filipino music, and I like classical music. But then people throw out names like, "Hey, do you like 21 Savage?" And I'm like, "Who the heck is
21 Savage?
Do you like? Hey, do you like Megan Thee Stallion? I've heard the name.
It's like, I'm very similar too, but when I was younger, I knew every single song that ever existed on Broadway and every single song that the Beatles ever wrote because of my dad. But whenever someone asked me what my favorite song was, I would say Firework by Katy Perry, because it was the only pop song I knew.
You gotta, again, the elementary, middle school, you gotta fit in.
Yeah. That calls back to that too. What is an event or moment in your life that triggered a really important life lesson?
Month 5 turn-in. Because it was like one of the most intense turn-ins. Actually, like, all of them month 5 onwards, but month 5 was the first one. Because it was like a really intense one, and I let a lot of work stack up. But somehow I managed to get it all done.
Yeah, I think, that was probably the first time that I, like, waited till the last moment to turn in a few things.
And it taught me that the amount of time that I know I have to do something is the amount of time it takes me to get it done, because I have a very strong work ethic, but I also tend to procrastinate.
Yeah, I feel like the first semester, not necessarily like the easiest, but it felt like more smooth. And then month 5 onwards was just a lot of stuff in a short amount of time. Yeah,
same. Like, that month 5 was I think for month 2, I got my audit file in Thursday night. And I'm like, but now I look back at it, I'm like, Thursday night, don't make me laugh.
Yeah. No, and now it's like month 9, and then month 10 is like non-existent, and we have AP tests soon. Can't wait. That's crazy how fast like the year goes by. Give us a book recommendation. I try to get a book recommendation and a song recommendation out of everyone.
Okay. 7 Eves by Neil Stephenson.
Everybody, write that down. I'm imagining people are watching this.
Yes, write that down.
Yeah.
Whoever's watching.
Mm-hmm. Would you provide a brief summary so people?
Yes, it is soft sci-fi and hard sci-fi in the same book. That it's basically the moon blows up, which is like, yeah, that's a
Star Wars 101.
That's how it starts too. The first four words are the moon blew up.
I kind of love that when it just starts and you're forced to kind of adapt to the entire setting of the book.
Yeah, and the moon, after it blows up, the scientists are saying it's supposed to disintegrate into a bunch of asteroids, so that there's this massive worldwide effort to get as many people off of the Earth as possible. And then the second part of the book is the humans are coming back to Earth after 5,000 years in space. And there's all this new technology they developed. So you got soft sci-fi in one part and hard sci-fi in another. And it's made by the same guy who wrote Snow Crash, which is one of my favorite books of all time.
Everybody go read that if you're interested in that. If you're not, don't force yourself to read it. Yeah, I used to not like sci-fi, and then I read Dune, and now I like sci-fi in books a lot more.
Yeah, I tried to read Dune. I could only get through around a third of it before
it's a very heavy book.
Oh no, sorry, 2/3 of it, and then I think I had like a very intense class that I had to put in a lot of work on, so I didn't read it as much, and I also kind of lost interest. So I'm like, a couple months later, I'm like, oh, let's pick this up.
And you just don't,
I don't remember what led me to this moment. I'm going to have to learn it again, and then I couldn't get back into it.
The entire book is kind of twisted plot lines and confusing stuff. I had great motivation because an actor I really admire is playing the lead in the movie. So it's like, I have to read this now. So
yeah, it would be fun to get back into reading it just to say that I've read it.
Yeah, that's how I am with a lot of books. I'm like, I'm cool. I've read that book.
Yeah, that was. Let's see. What book have I done that with? Maybe The Great Gatsby comes to mind.
I haven't read that yet. I know, I'm not cool.
Oh no. Or like Foundation, but I actually like Foundation.
Yeah, I tried to read Catcher in the Rye because my brother had an old copy, and I got like halfway through, and I just didn't.
It's not for everyone.
I'm not going to say really admired. I think maybe in a year I can reread it. Just for now, it annoys me too much.
Yeah, I've read it. It is not for everyone at every moment.
Yeah. I did really enjoy Perks of Being a Wallflower, which I bought and read for the clout. But I also really enjoyed it.
I've not read that one. I think I'd like it.
I think you'd really like it too. Yeah. I think everyone especially like in like young adult, teenager time frames, it's a very powerful book. So. Okay, we're on our last question. Super easy, not hard at all. What's something you think the world needs more of?
We're ending on a real whammy, aren't we?
Yep.
Okay.
Your answer could be chocolate. It could be candy. Please don't make that your answer.
It can be. It just as a fail-safe. Probably just like the ability to hold conversations about difficult topics without each person on edge feeling like the other's about to start yelling or get angry.
I like that answer a lot. Yeah. And that just encompasses so many issues we deal with. And it just provides such a roadblock that people get so offended when someone disagrees with their opinion. And, yeah.
Instagram political arguments come to mind.
I have screenshots upon screenshots of just people just getting angry at me for posting, like, maybe like reposting something about maybe Biden, or just something that has like a borderline of just people please be humane and have a sense of humanity, and people are like, no, fake news, you're a radical communist. I'm like, I'll take it.
Saving that to laugh at later.
Yeah. I don't know if that's like a human characteristic or like, wow, words, instinct that we have just to get defensive over our own opinions.
It probably is. There's probably like an evolutionary basis for it.
Yeah. Which is, whenever someone asks me why we act like this, I'm like, evolution. That's all I have for you. Yeah, okay, last words. Anything you'd like to say to our viewers before we end the screen recording?
Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes.